What's going on, everybody? What is going on? It is Wednesday, July 11th. I'm sorry, June 11th, 2025, and we are back with another live here on the Torian Rain Reloaded channel. If you have not done so already, please be sure to go ahead and hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if you are new. And if you are new to the channel, I'm glad that you are here. Hit the bell twice to be notified whenever I upload a new video or go live. Shout out to all the members. Shout out to all the mods. Shout out to everybody over there on Patreon. And again, shout out to everybody who is still contributing to the Black Music Month polls. I'm loving the contribution that people are giving to the polls. It's like every time I look, the numbers keep increasing each and every day. As a matter of fact, the poll today had 50 votes. As a matter of fact, the range has in the last few days has been in the 40 to 50-ish range as far as contributions to the polls. I'm glad that you are all doing it. Remember, at the end of the month on Saturday, June 28th, 2025, we will be having the Black Music Month jam session where we will go over all of the songs that won in the polls, and we just going to have one. It's almost going to be like one big listening party, but we're going to do it over on Rumble. So definitely make sure that you have that day free and clear. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do it in the afternoon or if it's going to be in the evening. I'll probably put a poll up on YouTube and or maybe make a poll on the website that I've been using to see what time is good for people and say, do y'all want it in the afternoon? Do you want it midday, or do you want it to happen in the evening, and put a particular time and let the results speak for itself? But let me see, who do we have in here so far in the chat? We got Hackson KT, Urban Green, Hurricane Nisi, Firebat, Dark Titan, Reparations Nation, Cameron Jones, Sybil, Jane Smith, YUH, Light Vision, Shamika Gray, Doc Spencer, Retro Gemini, Dewani, SD Johnson, and Cosmo just popped in here as well. Shout out to each and every person that's in here right now that left the comment, and all the people that are lurking right now who haven't left the comment. I'm glad that you are here. So today we're going to be going over something called hypocrisy, or when silence can get golden, and how to properly shut these individuals down. So as you can see by the thumbnail right there on the screen, I have two screenshots posted. Both are mine. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to have a little fun with this. And I have to give a shout out to Tariq, because it was a video he posted around the same time as this that made me want to do this. I said, you know what? I'm going to post this up on my Twitter account to see what the response is going to be. And honestly, I'm not shocked by the results. So on May 31st, 2025, I made a post called, "Can White People Properly Define Per Capita?" And as you can see by the results, it had 292 comments, 122 retweets, 1,000 likes, and 160, well, over 170 bookmarks, including mine. And it had 96,000.9 views. Now, of course, in there's 95, but on my screen, it has gone up to almost 97,000. But then on the other side, I wrote a post where I said, "White people, when is the last time you called out white on white crime, and give examples of such crimes? I want names, dates, and crimes committed, as well as the consequence or lack thereof for said crime." And that post went up less than 24 hours after the first one, on June 1st. Now, at the time of me screenshotting it, it only had 5,768 views. But now it's at over 11,000. Now, I want you to understand that it's like night and day between the two of these, because, of course, whenever you put the words per capita on Twitter, they flock to them posts like bees to honey. And when I tell you they flocked, they sure indeed flocked, because they went in on that post. So much, in fact, that I almost wanted to turn the notifications off because they were becoming so overwhelming. I mean, it got to the point where I started seeing people in there. I mean, I must have had it was a mixture of people that I was familiar with, even those that I wasn't familiar with. And of course, you know, the ones I wasn't familiar with was the usual suspects. And they came in there with all that rhetoric about per capita and whatnot. So what we're going to do is we're going to spend some time going over that post. Then we're going to go over the next post, because the next one, it's very telling, because I set it up perfectly. I said I was going to go into this and I'm going to write this one out and let that one see what that does. And it did exactly what I knew it was going to do. And then I put the other one up and that did exactly what it is. It's so predictable. That's why I keep telling y'all, when I make these videos, and it's so easy for me to call them out and debunk them, because it's their rhetoric never changes. They never veer off script. They love to talk about that per capita. Shoot, I try, because the thing is, I was going to make a video about it, but when for some reason when I tried to Google what per capita was, it seemed like Google was having a problem trying to tell me what it was. So let's go ahead now and share my screen, and we're going to go over the per capita one first. Let me zoom in a little bit so y'all can see it a little bit better. So there's the post right here, where I was simply asking the question: can white people properly, the keyword there is properly, define per capita? Now, shout out to Kid Gravity. He said, I love how Caucasians, and that's his word, not mine, in this thread are talking about per capita. I thought y'all had black fatigue, and y'all know that they bastardized that. And then I responded to him with, what would they do without us? So let's look at some of these replies. This one person right here said, less crime, better neighborhoods / cities, definitely less effing trash on the ground, less grease floating at the top of apartment pools as well. I mean, when I tell you, they come up and pop up with every type of anti-black talking point that they can come up with. It's ridiculous. KG said, wrong bot. Without us, your crime rates would skyrocket overnight, and the next group wouldn't be close, and your image would be that of the violent destroyers you purport not to be. Another one said, have safer communities. Someone else said, live in paradise. Someone else said, we'd have nothing to complain or worry about. It would be boring, but much safer. Well, they're right and wrong. Right in the fact that it would be boring, but safer, I highly doubt it. Live happy lives. Remember, they're responding to my question about what would they do without us. They said, live in an urban, safe neighborhood. Live in an urban neighborhood that's safe. Someone else said, seriously, what do you bring to the table that we couldn't do without? Angel Reese, Kendrick, drive-by shootings. Someone else said, please let us find out. Lead by example. Another person said, live in a world with less hate, less crime, and more harmony. Like that's the thoughts of some of them when I asked what they would do without us. Well, I know one thing they couldn't do without us. They couldn't use us as a talking point, which fuels a lot of their pockets. And shout out to the Resistance, because the Resistance was one of the first people that commented, and they was going back and forth. I'm gonna be honest, most of the notifications that I received from this post alone came from him, because he was going back and forth with these trolls. But the Resistance says, nope, it goes from 10% to 50% to per 100,000 to I'm white and I say so. Whatever numbers at the time paint black people in a bad light will do. They feed this to Fox News, MSNBC, ABC, CNN, OANN, and CBS News, and regurgitate it back to us with zero checks and balances. The entire city can have 0.001% black people living there and be 99% white. 5 black people go to jail, and it's all blacks killing and robbing everyone. And then they put up stats. So let's see how they chose to respond to this. So this person, who literally goes by the name of Karen, and her username is Uppity Karen, and they missed the P. They said, according to that table from the FBI, they said black individuals are overrepresented in all 29 categories tracked by the FBI in the 2019 table 43, with per capita arrest rates exceeding their population proportion, 13.4% in each category, ranging from 1.19 DUI to 3.96 for robbery. This indicates they are more likely to commit virtually every crime based on arrest data from a population of 229,735,355 covered by 10,831 agencies. Then the Resistance came back and said, now do raw numbers. And that's where a lot of us ended up tripping them up, because when we started mentioning or talking about raw numbers, then that's when they wanted to deflect. And then she says, doesn't help you. Resistance says, so you split that by over 50% due to exonerations, and voila, back to your racist drawing board. And it goes on and on and on. Let's go through some more. Resistance also pulled out another one, says you have to repeatedly harp on per capita because raw numbers disproves their theory every last time. Using their own rules, blacks are arrested between 5 and 15 times more than white disproportionately, but simultaneously exonerated over 50% of the time. The raw numbers, math isn't mathing. Okay, this other person right here says, well, black people can't. We know that, when he was asking about defining per capita, to which I replied with, define it. I know you can't. And then they replied back with, it's based on averages and how the average black person is more likely to steal, murder, and commit crimes per capita. Someone else says, you MFs are so arrogantly stupid. Someone else says, just because people have common sense doesn't make them a supremacist, while you effing clowns call yourselves kings and blame everyone else for your problems. And someone says, more stereotypical BS and ad hominem white explaining nonsense. Now, I had this person right here who goes by the name of Sir Greyown. Now, they have a picture of a black person here, but I don't know if they're black, but let's hypothetically say that they are. They said, so y'all act obtuse about a term to circumvent the guilt of aiding and abetting the worst community in America. It's funny they're saying this now. When you look outside, well, when you look at what's going on in LA right now. Now, of course, I posted this before what happened in LA. But look at what's going on in LA right now, and they call us the worst community. This is, are the reading levels going to go up when you finally understand the term? How many YNs are going to put down their guns once you feel good about the definition? And then I said, define it and stop playing games. And then the person just says, it means white. It means I'm white, and I say so. That's really all that per capita thing really is at the end of the day. The resistance says, if per capita means per person or per head, and you take the raw numbers, it totally flips the script every last time, knowing full well that over 50% of arrested black people are exonerated. This is a lose-lose for team white supremacy. Maybe we should allow them this one, because if we don't, some school will suffer. Now mash the gas. Someone says it means per person. Simply per person. Then I came back and just said, now do raw numbers. I wanted to trip them up with that one. And then they said, do what with them? And then someone else came back and said, the raw numbers show the reality of the situation. Your per capita argument is nothing more than the use of stats to paint a picture that is not true. The vast majority of the black community is law-abiding. That reality doesn't help you racist, though. You need propaganda to justify your pathetic fear-based worldview. And shout out to KG for being a member of the channel for 38 months. He says, B1 Night Rider check in. I think it's time I show them the real per capita numbers. Well, something tells me that you will be doing a live about that. And shout out to Miss Nisi for being a member for 16 months. I appreciate you. And shout out to Mitchell for popping into the chat. Then the troll came back and said, someone asked if white people can define per capita. I took Latin. I can't. I did. What are you going on about? Someone else has also took Latin here. Saying per capita means per person is technically correct, but you knew they were at what they were asking what it actually means in context. Giving the literal definition instead of explaining the concept feels disingenuous. Anywho, just a fellow troll. And look at this. And I think this is the person right here that actually figured out what I was doing. They said someone was just baiting white people into racist traps. Then sneaky black people and their traps. This is the first time I think anyone ever figured out that that's what I was doing, because a lot of times they'll never figure it out. But really, I actually did want them to actually properly define it, because the thing is, they fell into them admitting they fell into a trap means they wanted to engage in this. They could have bypassed it. Someone said, be careful, Trent. They said, or what? You're going to get violent and threatening? How very per capita of you. Okay, that's enough of that. This person says, okay, 13% of your skin color commits over 60% of the crime. How effing remedial are you? What the F was the reason behind this post? And someone says, now do that globally and throughout history. And it goes on and on and on. Look at this. 4% of the population make up 50% of them. So now we've dropped all the way down to 4%. Like I said, it's so easy to trip them up, y'all. Learn from me. Learn from me. It don't take much, and it was only a few short words. Someone says, why do blacks not understand statistics? LOL. Someone says, you really don't understand the basis of statistics. Someone says, yes, your people as a whole are on welfare. Posting cryptic tweets isn't going to help anything, Bubba Ray. So now my name is Bubba Ray. You know what I should have did? I should have went further into this tweet. What I should have did was when I was asking about defining per capita, you know what? I can actually still do it. I can just ask white people, because you gotta make sure you're addressing them, because if not, they're not gonna know the other way. White people, why is per capita only used against black people and not any other group? I think that might be the next question I ask, and then I'll come back at a later date to see and show y'all what the results were, because I'm curious. They never use per capita with any other group. It's only us. Just like when they do proximity crime, but they only say black on black crime, and they only do it with us. They don't do it with any other group. They have to go out of their way to make us the bad guy no matter what. So I think I will do that. I'll probably, I'll post it soon. Maybe not tonight, but soon. Someone says, you agree that the police were more of a problem for white people and that Black Lives Matter was unnecessary because the number was a drop in the bucket against the raw numbers. Someone says some raw numbers, 89% of black people who are murdered by black people. So there's the black on black crime thing. It says, look in the mirror and fix your people, then start talking ish, you racist prick. I really must have pissed this GOP person off, because this is like the fourth comment they've left where they was either calling me out of my name or saying some wild stuff. I must have really got them in their feelings with this one. Someone says, Google it if you don't know. And I said I did, but I asked white people specifically since they peddle it all the time and usually in one direction. Now define it. So I was going back and forth with them, and I was being defiant. I was being defiant on purpose, and I wasn't putting no LOL because I didn't want them to think I was laughing and joking with them. Like, let me read my response again. I said I did. I asked white people specifically since they peddle it all the time and usually in one direction. Now define it. This person said, how would you feel if you didn't eat breakfast yesterday? What? What kind of response is that? Church, what up? Well, I said, what up, church? Like church is in the chat, but a church in the chat, salute to you. But church replied too. Church says they can't even properly define woke racism or oppression. Someone else said, define ignorance. I said, you. Now answer the question. Now, this one was funny because this one went over their head. They said, define ignorance. And I said, you. Now answer the question. They said, oh, honey, per capita is just a fancy pants way of saying per person or for each head in Latin, because apparently we needed a term to sound extra scholarly when divvying up stats like GDP, income, or crime rates across the population. And I said, it went over your head how I responded to you. Someone else said it went over your head what the term means. After all, you asked the question, and the person, they didn't get it. When they said define ignorance, I said you, as in you are the ignorant one. You are the definition of ignorant, but I wasn't about to spell it out for her. And clearly it still didn't work because they didn't come back. You know what? I just left it alone. Now look at this one. This Karen against it. It's Latin. It means per means the. Capita means black people commit crime at astonishing rates. So there it is. And she wrote this on May 8th. So they're literally telling you right here, this uppity Karen with 1P, not 2, is literally telling you that per capita is for black people only. They only use it on black people. But, just to, get my own rest assurance, I'm going to ask the question again on Twitter. Probably I might post it up tomorrow. Andre said, no, they can't. All white people do is lie. Someone says, yes, blacks make up 15%, because 46% of violent crime. See, they keep changing their numbers. First, they say 13%. Another one said 4%. So that must mean we went through one heck of a fall, a drought. Then they said 15% and 46%. They can't even get their stat numbers correctly, but they want to talk about us all the time. But I thought they had black fatigue. And you want to know what's so crazy? I got them with that one. Let me tell you how devious my mind works when I do stuff like this. These people say they have black fatigue. Their bastardized version of black fatigue is they don't want to be anywhere around us in any capacity. I made this post right here, and they all these black fatiguers flocked to this black person's post to argue with me and other black people. But I thought y'all were tired of us. Why did you come to my post then? I thought you had black fatigue. You should have ignored it. But they can't. They can't ignore us if they tried. They hate when we ignore them. They don't like it when we don't give them attention. KG came back and said, and whites are 47% worry about yours. Someone says, y'all never talk about the other side of that 1546 number. Black men make up the overwhelming majority of unlawful and wrongful convictions. Keep that same energy when it comes to highlighting injustice as y'all like to do when highlighting crime. Someone says, one, I've been wondering this. What date did this equality and forthrightness occur? The last school in America desegregated in 1968. Was it equal then to you? Did the mentality change? While segregated black men were drafted up, made up 25% of the front lines, though 7% of the population. And it goes on and on. Someone says, it means you're more likely to commit every type of crime there is. You're welcome. Someone said, yes, black people shoot more people on average than white people. It says, we've done it so many times, you just can't comprehend it. Another reason I did this because I wanted them to crash out on this post. It is so easy, KG. You better let them know how easy this is. It is so easy for them to like tell on themselves, especially on Twitter. Another person said, yes, white people for the most part can properly define per capita for you. The problem is that they can't understand it for you. That's up to you. Y'all don't even understand it, and you still can't properly define it. Someone says, the ones who typically use it don't seem to understand that the number of people in a location and the wealth of a particular location, such as city, state, etc., have to be evenly matched for per capita to matter. Counting each individual doesn't matter when there are discrepancies. Someone else says, I can't understand it for you, though. If you have 10 green apples and we're considered the black people, we're the green apples in his analogy, and 7 of them are bad, then you are less likely to have a good apple. If you have 30 red apples and he's considered white people to be red apples and 10 are bad, then you are more likely to pick a good apple. Someone says per capita means that if any person goes to a public area where there are 10 whites and 3 blacks and he is murdered or robbed, the most likely perpetrator is. Since it's not 1K pig in this thread answered the question. Someone says it means relative to the population. You need someone to define relative now. Imagine, and now they keep giving these analogies, and none of them are landing. Not one of them are landing. Can black people stop committing crimes? Someone says we've tried multiple times. Try harder. That's what I should have replied with. Someone says, what words can I not say based on what? Someone say, can black people properly say ask? And at that point, I think I said when I got to the point where they were just starting to get so annoyed. Let me see what these quoted posts are looking like, because there was some in there too. One says they can't, some ish they made up because they be leading in categories they assume blacks did. Says, I love it when real black folk turn white-ish against them. He's an example. The per capita thing can put stats into a different context and even refute them. Whites insist that black people commit majority of the crimes, yet per capita, most of us are law-abiding. The crime stats are cooked. They said, until they leave children alone, I'll start taking them seriously. Someone says, when we do something more than you, but want it to look like you do it more than us, that's per capita. Per capita to white people means we're going to use a small sample size or a specific number that doesn't include the true amount in order to justify our racist ideologies. Someone says, can white people sit in 90 degrees without needing the sunscreen? Another person said no, because it's some BS they made up so they can leave out the details prove systematic racism. For the most part, most of the people that quote tweeted it were pretty much on code for the most part. But now we've gone through that post. Now let me show you the contrasting post that I made the next day. This one right here. And you're going to see a very huge, stark difference from the replies to the amount of views this one got and everything. So I said, white people, when is the last time you called out white on white crime? And give examples of such crimes. I want names, dates, and crimes committed, as well as the consequence or lack thereof for said crime. And shout out to Black Voltron, because he was the first person to reply to this post. He said the white folks are mighty quiet on this question. So by the time he wrote this, the post had already been up for like a couple hours. And I said, but they had everything to say when it came to per capita, and nearly 48 hours later, they are still going at it on that post. Then someone asked for the link, and I gave them the link so they could go over there and look at it. So that's that post right there. Another person says they cowards or hate accountability. They always have someone to blame. This one said, I once was in a discussion with two women about how shootings in schools, and it's always these young white kids who embrace this, and those women were white themselves. It was almost something their brains couldn't wrap themselves over. TV programming has done wonders. And this one white woman right here was the only person that came to my post that I saw that actually legit calls it out. And she showed me where she calls it out, and actually showed me the shows where white on white crime or violence happens a lot. The ID channel, Oxygen True Crime, the True Crime Network, and A&E Crime Central. Kamari said, funny how folks love to throw the term around black or black crime like it's a cultural flaw, but go silent when it's time to speak about white on white crime. Y'all ever notice that? It says most crime happens within racial groups, proximity, not pathology. But nobody weaponizes against white folks the same way that they do us. And it's a very lengthy post, and they just give examples. So this person right here named Reynolds Maddie said, we don't say it for the fact that it's not even remotely close to the epidemic. And he wrote that in all caps. That is young black men taking each other out in droves every day in cities like Chicago, because you know they had to drop Chicago's name first, Detroit, Nashville, St. Louis, and they said Nashville twice, Memphis, Baltimore, DC, etc. It's literally a daily occurrence. Someone else says, well, on the flip side, the white people are doing crimes of a different nature in droves in those same areas. One white kid gets snatched, one black kid gets shot. One white kid gets violated, one black kid robbing the church lady. Someone else said, actually, white on white crime and black on black crime rates are pretty similar. And the thing is, if you look it up, like if you look at the FBI crime stats under that one, the murder one, they're really close. They make it seem like it's this huge gap. But if you look at all those other categories, whites as a collective lead by huge margins. Very, very huge margins. Another person says, not all, but a lot of them, usually all races don't even possess this type of self-awareness, the IQ that is in the dirt. This other person just put cricket emojis. Someone says, white people don't have a culture of violence against each other. That's as pervasive as it is within the black community. They said it was a dumbass question. It says, better question is, when have you called out the black on black violence within the black communities? The deflection. And they will sit up there and say, oh, it's not as bad. The thing is, you goofy, I didn't say if it was as bad or if it wasn't as bad. I said, why don't you call it out at all? Which means you're admitting that it's there, but you're still not calling it out because it's not, quote unquote, as bad as it is in black communities. See what I mean? The deflection is real. Well, KG, when I drop the link, make sure you come on up and you can tell me the stats on the panel. Someone else is doing all of this to justify your glorifying of thugs and ops. Someone else says, I don't think whites point out black on black crime. They just acknowledge that it impacts national crime. Oh, stop it. Y'all sitting up there and telling that lie. Someone says most of us do it daily. You can see this on Twitter. We don't raise 500K for oh, they talking about Carmelo Anthony. Well, y'all were the ones that raised over $700,000 for Shiloh Hendricks. Someone else says, I try not to celebrate crime the way you do, so I can't provide that date. See what I mean? They either deflected, got mad, or said some dumb mess like this. Let me come off the screen right quick because I think KG sent me something right quick. Let me check this. Okay, let me share this right quick. So KG just sent me this right here, and I didn't even know this existed. It says FBI quietly revised violent crime data, now showing surge instead of reported decrease. Let me see here. Okay, it says I have checked the data on total violent crime from 04 to 2022, nearly 20 years. It says there were no revisions from 04 to 2015, over 10 years. And from 2016 to 2020, there were small changes of less than 1 percentage point. The huge changes in 2021 and 2022, especially without any explanation, make it difficult to trust the FBI data. So there you go. So they say there's evidence out there that for years they have not updated the crime stats over there. So the numbers that we see are most likely the numbers that are not real. That's why they got to lean in on that per capita all the time. Very interesting find, KG, because I didn't know this existed. If I had knew about this, I would have did a video about it. And this came out last year. It came out last October. Go figure. What was going on in October? Getting ready for the election. So it would be easy for this to get lost in the shuffle. They said the change is only discoverable when downloading the new set of data now and comparing it to the old, with the FBI issuing no statement reflecting the change. Interesting. I'll post the link in the chat if anybody wants to read it in its entirety. But shout out to KG for sending that, because I didn't know that existed. And probably that was deliberate. But you know what time it is, y'all? It is time for me to drop the link in the chat if anybody would like to come up and speak. I don't even know why I asked if anyone would like to come up and speak. I know y'all want to come up and speak. Of course,
what's going on, Torian? What's going on, everybody in the chat? Sorry I entered the chat late. I was doing something. I was, on the game, so I forgot you was going live. But they basically just say, well, why they all it. Well, let me say it like this. They always want to put violence on us all the time, but then it's like, well, if they do violence, it's like every now and then. But every time I turn on the news, y'all on the news almost every day, every other day, messing with little kids. Y'all don't never want to bring that up. Y'all never want to bring up the fact that y'all be out here deleting your families and then take yourself out. Some of y'all take yourself out. So for me, it's like we're like the dude was saying, we was like what 13%, then we were 4%, then we were 15%.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even get your stats right. you go up first off, you name three different population numbers. So which one? How can anybody believe you just off of that? Like, I think they said that the murder rates like is kind of like similar, and like you said, Torian, everything else they lead in every category, every single category. But they don't never say that. They just worry about what we be doing.
Yeah, that's why whenever that's why they always kind of do that per capita thing when it comes to the murder rates, because that's the only category on that list that we lead in, but it's only by a very small margin. If you look at the rest of that list, they lead heavily by a large margin over every other group. Like there is a
Every other
huge,
group.
it's a huge gap
Yep.
between them, us, and everybody else.
Especially in like the categories I just named, it's like it's not even close. Like I think it was like what they said in the not the essay, but the child molesting stuff. Like they are like 90% of that crime, and we're like somebody said 4%, something like that. I'm not sure. It's something in that range, but they can't talk about nobody. It's like you point, like what Gomer used to say, when you point your fingers at somebody, it's three more pointing right back at you. And I'll land my hold on. What don't say anything else? No, I'll land my plane there, Torian. Be one.
B1. Shout out to Waller for coming up. Next, we got Cosmo. What's going on?
Hey, what's good, man? I'm at work, but this it's funny that I'm at work and I've answered a lot of domestic calls. And like I said, a lot of stuff have escalated. This is where it starts at with PC people. Beating on one another, then it escalates to something worse. But somebody said in the comment section earlier, you noticed that a lot of forensic files episodes, when have you seen, haven't most of them been who? Who murdering who?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly my point. Unsolved mystery. Victims murdering who? That got solved. It's just a lot of stuff that they say to us all the time about, but per capita makes absolutely no
I'll
sense.
take you a step further. Remember To Catch a Predator?
Yes,
I'm gonna be
yes.
honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. That was one of my favorite shows to watch back in the day, and I have a feeling why they took it off. We heard the reason why they took it off, but I don't think that was the real reason though.
It's like, oh, they try to come at the Chris Hansen, right?
Yeah.
And we all remember the one that was like, yeah, I was just delivering pizza. I was like, yeah, sure you were, buddy. Sure you were. Yeah, this the whole thing kills me because it's the only thing they can really hold over head by a very small percentage. And we all know damn well if the social ladder, the social economic ladder was more on balanced terms, those numbers would change. Because crimes, a lot of people, if you got no money, if you got no financial reason, you're not starving for nothing, you're not going to commit crime in any nature unless you're just a sick bastard. That's all I have to say. And a lot of them turn out to be sick bastards, deleting
Yeah.
their families. Remember
Right.
the Pennsylvania
Camilla side.
situation?
Mm-hmm.
Remember the Pennsylvania one during
Yeah.
the winter like a couple years ago. He's like, "Do it, you effing pussy." Remember that one? And he went and he shot the wife. He stood over, fired over the guy. He shot the guy and his wife. He finished off the wife and finished off the guy and went inside and finished himself. Of
Mm-hmm.
course. So he did that. And who was that? Those people in Pennsylvania. Who were they? PC. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna lay my plane there because I don't get back to work.
All right. Appreciate you coming up. Shout out to Cosmo for coming up. Next, we got King Kovi. What's going on?
Nothing much. How are you, man?
I'm doing good.
Good, good. Okay, so they can't define per capita, just like they can't define woke or any other stupid catchphrase
The
or
reason, the
punchline.
recent one, the recent one is black fatigue. That's the new one.
Yeah, yeah. They can't stop, can they? They can't stop.
Mm-mm.
Just leave us alone. That's all we want. Leave us the hell alone. We don't want nothing to do with you all like that. We be minding our business, and then here they go. Oh, woke. Oh, black fatigue. Man, shut up. And then, and then they really got the nerve to say something about the Carmelo Anthony thing when he raised, when he had his when somebody set that up for him and everything. My thing is this, like, y'all really, man, y'all really supported a racist bitch that was talking to an autistic kid. Y'all proud of that? That's how y'all
Of
get.
course.
That's
They're very proud of that. Like we saw, listen, we went over that on the channel. Like we saw all the tweets that they, well, not even all, because there was so many of them, of what they were saying. They felt like that was their get back because we overwhelmingly supported Carmelo Anthony in his Give, Send, Go. So this was their way of, clapping back at us. And then remember, they tried to turn it into a competition. Like, oh, she raised more money than he did. I'm like, okay, she got your money. Y'all just made this woman nearly a millionaire
for no
for
reason.
doing that.
For no reason.
And y'all talk about handouts. I mean, at least with Carmelo Anthony, we're donating because we want to make sure he gets proper representation when he goes to court.
Correct.
With her, y'all with her, y'all were just funding her pockets. Y'all basically took this woman into a whole new tax bracket in like 2 weeks
for being a racist bitch. That's all they did it for. Oh, she's a racist bitch. Yeah, we're a bunch of racist bitches too, so we're gonna fund her. That's all I saw. I'm just calling it how I see it.
And it's a reason why they turned the comment section off on there, because I was going to go when I did the live about it, I was going to go over the comments that were there, but they turned the comments off. So only thing that you could see was the names of the donors, but you couldn't see the comments that they left. Man, it looked like Jim Crow with some of them comments.
Of course it does. And like I said, they talk all this black fatigue shit and everything, but they can't leave us the hell alone. They can't keep our names or out of their mouths for nothing. They can't. Like, dog. Like, when is it gonna stop? If y'all so tired of us and everything.
I got a video coming up. Interesting that you said that. They claim to have all this black fatigue, but guess what's going on right now? What's going on in LA? And who they crying to ask for help? Us. I thought y'all had black fatigue. Don't call us. I thought y'all said y'all had black fatigue. So if y'all had black fatigue, then we're gonna let you nest in that and let y'all handle that yourselves. And then they get upset and throw a tantrum and start saying what they really feel about us when we basically tell them, no, we're not going outside.
Not for you or anybody. That ain't got nothing to do with us. Man, whatever. Hey, man, thanks for letting me up and everything. Keep doing what you're doing. I'll check you out on your next one, man. Thanks.
Appreciate you coming up. Shout out to King Kovi for coming up. Next up, we got AW1. What's going on?
Yeah, what's going on, Torian?
Doing good.
Sounds like you got fatigue with these racist trolls and fools.
Man, I can never get tired of this. Like I said, this is easy work for me.
It is.
Like I told somebody before when I had talked about them before, I said I'm so calm right now. My blood pressure, my heart rate didn't even go up that much. Talking about you, I'm real calm right now.
So you don't need none of my aspirin?
Nah.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm gonna just say it like this. Yeah, they're so tired of us, but yet they can't keep their names out of our mouths.
You mean keep our names out of their mouths?
Keep our names out. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, man. I've been up all day, 18 hours.
No problem.
Anyway, another thing I want to tell you. Yeah, I agree 100% what you said here, but I finally saw a lot of Sinners. I really enjoyed it. Oh yeah, people are mad. Let me tell you something. At the end, I stood up and clapped, brother, and I think you know why.
Yeah. Yes. Because I gave the same sentiment when I did my review. When I said the ending was like the cherry on top of this beautiful Sunday. So
yes, I stood up and clapped.
Listen, when I saw it in the theaters, because I saw it in IMAX, I wanted to see it in the best format possible, and I'm glad that I did. When that part happened, I literally leaned up in my chair, and the hairs on my back stood up at attention.
Me too, right?
Literally, that's how I was feeling. I could actually feel like the hairs raising. Like they actually went there with it, and I'm glad that they did.
Oh, people are mad about that too. That's the thing. Clearly, they just want us to be forgiving and loving without defending ourselves. they don't like that we're defending ourselves now. Like, nah, you're not going to hit me and just get away from it.
And not only just defending ourselves, but also putting our foot down on a lot of stuff. Like I was just saying with King Kovi about what's going on out there in LA. Like we not going out there, and you see all these TikTok videos popping up of the South of the Bordarian talking about black and brown unity and black and brown code. I say y'all never talked about black and brown this much at all until stuff starting affecting you, and now you want us to reach to help you. No, and then I pulled the Uno reverse card on them when they tried to do the BLM thing. I'm like, listen,
black folks didn't support them.
We didn't ask you to come out there when the whole BLM thing was really going on. You volunteered to go out there. It wasn't like there was a sign up. Well, even if it was a sign up sheet, that's still volunteering. Black people didn't ask you to go out there. You volunteered to go out there. Now you feel like we owe you something. No, that's not how this works. We didn't sign no blood oaths. There's no contract saying that we have to go out there. No, you go and handle your situation, and we go and deal with ours. We got bigger fish to fry, and I'm so glad that that's happening right now.
Oh yeah, black folks. Yeah, like I said, that's my advice. Just mind our own business, which is what we are doing. And I love it.
Exactly.
But all right, Torian, you take care. Y'all stay woke.
Appreciate you coming up, AW1. Next up, we got Jonathan. What's going on? And I know we caught you at a good time because you just left the gym.
Yes, I was. I just finished doing some hammer curls. I'm actually on my way to another gym, my friend's apartment gym. Okay. So I'm gonna try to make this quick as possible before I get there. But it's funny that they say, if we wasn't around, no crimes or nothing would exist, when clearly the less of them, the more the world heals. You notice how the world is healing when racism is taking out the earth. Mm-hmm. And the fact that one of them mentioned Angel Reese and Kendrick Lamar,
I would say this before, like, I didn't mean to cut you off. When you said that, it's even extra when it's someone who is an elite figure, such as I'm trying to throw one out there. Got Rush Limbaugh. Mm-hmm. There was no tears that fell from my eyes when I found out he took the eternal dirt nap.
Man, when I found out Rush Limbaugh died, I act like I didn't know who he was, and I could care less. I was like, enjoyed that, swimming in that fire. Excuse me, Lord forgive me, but hey, I'm just telling how it is. And yeah, and it's funny that if Angel Reese is so irrelevant, why is y'all mention her name so much?
Like I said, like I always say, what is the motto? The foundation of every grifter's grift is the degradation of
black people and foundation of black Americans. I got half of it down. I got half of it now.
Like I tell you, y'all, I'm gonna drill that motto into y'all heads until y'all get it, into the point where y'all saying it in your sleep, or get it tatted or something. But
I'm gonna study it.
That's really what it all boils down to, because again, they claim they don't need us, but apparently you do, because you need us for talking points. It's
because every I'm on X and on YouTube and everything. Every time a video is made about Angel Reese, there was an X account about this person making a lie talking about Angel Reese. Said that prime Brittany Griner would beat Allen Iverson 101. That was a day after Allen Iverson complimented Angel Reese on their game, and Angel Reese clapped back and said, "When did I say this?" See, the woman is tired of the lies, and at this point, if I'm her, I'm putting everything on lawsuit. I know you can't sue everyone, but the name slandering, just because I'm a successful black person, that don't give you a right to try to sabotage me with your slander and lies. Because at this point, everybody is gonna get tired and bored of and get sick of it. Like it's sad, but yeah, they are the biggest hypocrites on earth, bro. Like the nerve of this dude talking about we the highest way of messing with kids, bro. 90 to 95% of child molesting come from the white folks. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you something. Molesting kids is damn near worse than killing someone. Because if you kill a child, killing you for hurting my child, it's not a sin. It's not a death sentence. Like what attracts you to a little baby? Like, come on now. And then come up with these little goofy little nicknames and all that. Bubba Ray, when your name is, I would have honestly, I would have clapped back and said, whatever, Billy Ray. You know what I'm saying? Stay in
Honestly,
your.
honestly, like I said, I stopped scrolling down through the comments because so many were coming in. Like it seemed like every 5 minutes I was getting notifications from that post. So as you can see, as I was scrolling down, that post was getting longer and longer and lengthier. Like you saw all the. That's why I did what I did. Because if you looked at the first post when it was talking about per capita, it was like over almost 300 comments. When you looked at the one about the white on white crime, that one was under 50 comments, and most of them were from us wondering when they were going to reply to the post. It was like a
Because
small handful of them that replied to it, and even when they did, you saw what they did. They started to deflect.
yeah, I mean, I was listening to all the deflection that you was reading, and I'm like, see, they never take accountability for their actions, but they always which want to hold us and other races accountable. But they want to hold us the most accountable, even though they want to forget what they did to us, the ancestors did to us 4 to 500 years, and not to mention like they commit the most mass shootings. They're not saying about that. And it's like I said, when they kill each other and they sometimes and they even do each other way worse than they do us. They are always quiet. Like out of all the questions that you put, why wasn't not one white person or like 2, 3 white people was able to answer your white on white crime question?
And not only
Because
that,
they
the thing is, it also took them so long to answer it too. Because, like I said, when I was doing the per capita one, they came in immediately. But when I did the white on white crime one, it took them forever to respond to it. Like the first people that responded to that was mainly Black people. They didn't come into the comment until maybe over an hour, nearly 2 hours later. And when they did, they just deflected.
exactly that's what I'm saying. Like they don't want to hold accountable. They don't want to be put out like they're worse than us. They don't want to be put out as the worst race. Like their goal is to be tricky, manipulative, and to have people think it's not us. We're the good angels. Those Black people, they're the devastated killers. They commit the most crimes and all that. And sadly, some people, a lot of people fell for their bait, not knowing in the future they're going to throw them out in the streets. Like sooner or later, and you saw what happened to the Black dude and talking about his family don't even want him in Thanksgiving no more. Like his family don't want to have nothing to do it. It's like look at y'all, y'all own family, y'all own blood betraying y'all because you in a sucking place and you're turning on your own to side with them. Your family don't want a part of that. So yeah, they cut you off. They disown you. I'll do the same thing if I had a family member turn on us to side with them. You're that easily manipulated. But yeah, Torian, it's just sad. At this point, I think God has. But I think he's trying to get more Black people to see. So I'm gonna go ahead and let my plane right there. If you decide to drop a leak again, I'll come back on and bring my friend on.
All right, appreciate
but yes, appreciate you. Be one.
Yeah. All right, that was Jonathan. And Jonathan, they were in the chat worrying about your safety. Jonathan was in the back seat. He wasn't driving. And also, Cosmo, if you're still in the chat, I did see what you posted in the DM. I saw that video earlier today, and I recorded the video on it, so stay on the lookout for that one, because I had a lot to say about that nonsense. All right, next up, we got Church. What's going on?
How you doing, Torian? Can you hear me?
I'm doing good.
All right, blessings to you.
I don't know why you said, "Can you hear me?" And I said, "I'm doing good."
I get it, man. It's a long day. It's been a long day for me too. I just wanted to come up real quick because I'm on the road myself, but I'm pulled over at this point in time. So I just wanted to say real quick, we already know, and shout out to KG for putting up that article, because we already know you can't trust the FBI numbers. We already know we can't trust any of their numbers. When you speak about just any of the criminality, you know they're going to do on white and I say so. That is just what it is. When you look at how many people, like how many Daniel Pennies are out there, how many people who've committed these type of crimes and they just decided, oh well, it wasn't no crime. How many people who's out there who say they've been given lesser charges than what they actually deserve. So that's how they keep those crime numbers down too. They try to sit here and play this sleight of hand bull stuff, but all they're doing now, and it's really just pathetic to me, because back in the day, my grandmother used to say these folks are out here practicing witchcraft. They have to instill things into people's mind to get them to believe it. So they would have to show different type of images of black folks and different type of things to make people believe that this is what's happening. Nowadays, it's not even that type of stuff. It's just, I'm white and I say so, and if you don't believe me, then I'm gonna keep saying the same thing over and over. Everybody is seeing the veil be raised over these people's heads, and we're seeing who they truly are. We already knew who they truly are, but they're proving to everyone else who they truly are as well. But that's what's happening in everyone's community right now, to be honest with you. The Latinos, the goddamn Native Americans, everybody, like you said, they got FBA on the mind, and they ain't gonna they can't take that out. We're living rent free. If I would have known, you know what I'm saying, I had a place to live rent free, I wouldn't have been paying $1,500 a month in mortgage bills. But I'll land there, family. Thank you so much for having me up.
Oh, but first, before you go, Church, is that a silhouette of Dr. Francis Cress Wilson?
I tried to make it as closely as possible. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I said I know the side profile when I see it. It's a very famous one.
Yes,
but
sir.
But I appreciate you coming up.
All right. Thank you, brother.
Appreciate you, Church. And also, if y'all haven't done so, make sure y'all subscribe to Church's channel. He definitely drops some gems over there, which seemingly I think a few times a week. All right, next up we got Scoop. What's going on? Speaking of LA.
Yeah, I figured I'd come up before I gotta take my butt back to work tomorrow. But yeah, they out here tearing up my city. I guess just because they can, and because they getting handled with kid gloves, because I know good and dang well if that was us out there, man, it would be casualties left and right. Ain't no way they're gonna let us go out there and just tear up the streets, throw rocks at police cars. What I have a problem with, which I know how they are, because we done dealt with them, with writing NK on the walls out here. Every anti-black thing that you could think of, they a part of. But the fact that knowing that, why would you ask us for help? Why would you think we stupid? We've seen how you get on. We've seen the way you treat us. You know, they say things because apparently, you know, their little corn vendor got robbed back in the day, and you know, they say we violent, and you know, we don't like Mexicans, we're racist, blacks are the most racist. You know, I'm like, man, really? If we that racist, why would you ask for help? I wouldn't ask somebody that I thought was racist.
As a matter of fact, did you see that video? I think it's pretty much going viral now, where it was like, you know, how they have the cops do the perimeter thing where they guard a certain spot so they can't get past a certain spot, and you had that one black cop that was out there, and you had those two south of the Borderians out there calling him the N-word so many times. I said, you can't tell me that there's no anti-black animosity coming out of them, because they targeted him specifically, while there was a whole bunch of other cops there that were not black, but they specifically targeted him, said all that stuff. But notice there was some distance between them when they said it. They made sure not to get in his face and say it. They said it from a distance, and then got on their little motor scooter that they probably stole. Yes, I went there, and drove away.
Hey, I trust you me. I'm from Southern Cali, grew up in Southern Cali, LA all my whole life. Trust me, I know how they get down. They real slick with it. They have said so many comments. Like I said, they firebombed that black lady's house in Boyle Heights, ran them out. And that was a lot of blacks used to live over there. Not no more. We got communities out here in Southern California that blacks ain't welcome. You know, it's like the Klan. You go over there around the Mexicans, they will run you out. They will run you out. They'll press you. They'll pull up on you, and they will end your life. We got so many instances of that with them all the way. You know, I mean, like Compton. Compton is predominantly them now. You know, a lot of black families go.
And keep in mind, last year when Kendrick had that pop out, they got so upset because there wasn't no Mexican representation.
Yep, I remember that. And they those same ones that vandalized his mural, just like they did with Kovi and Gigi. They vandalized that. They continue to do that. They continue to show that they're anti-black. Everything that has to do with us, they feel we should include them. And if they don't, I mean, there's so many of their channels where, I mean, they worse than them than PC as far as I'm concerned, because their channels, there's so many of them that they continue to talk mess about FBA. They have channels that have said FBA don't deserve reparations. They were here first. They built the country. FBA, we all came from Africa. As if they know our history when they don't know nothing about. We know more about their history than they do. That's how I know they got a lot of anti-black, and it's a lot of them out here. And the funny thing is, a lot of these podcasters is from Southern California. They won't call them out. A lot of them won't say nothing to them folks. They will let them keep spewing that anti-black. They'll laugh about it. They want to side with them. They want to be part of, the Mexicans. They've been done wrong and blah blah blah. Just like when they robbed that corn man, they put a video up of the black guys caught the dudes that robbed the corn man, and the Mexicans wanted them beat up on camera.
Wow.
And so they beat them up on camera for everybody to see us chastising our own. That to me was a low moment. Like, why would you do that for their community? Because all the mess those Latinos have done to us, no one put them up there to show us that they chastise their own, because they don't. Like I said, all that it's so much stuff that goes on out here in California between us and them. Well, like I said, when I mean they are anti-black in California, they are very anti-black. They are some of our biggest enemies that we have to keep our eye on, because they will do all kind of stuff. Like I said, they got no problem calling you an N-word to your face. They write it on the walls all the time. They let you know that it's about, as they say, the rasa. They big on that. La rasa, la rasa, la rasa. That's all they scream. One of the podcasts said that we don't deserve reparations until they get it. We ain't done. They say
remember what happened with Nuri Martinez?
Yes, I was right here in LA. So, like I said, these are the same people. But now you expect us to go out there and nah, man, you got to hold your own fish tacos. Go on out there with that. We not coming.
And also quiet as it's kept. Remember when they was doing those smash and grabs? They kept trying to say that was us. I was like, no. Just because they got all black going on, it's us. And then it got discovered that it was them. As a matter of fact, the two ringleaders one of them was a Mexican man and the other one was a Mexican woman. I'm not sure if they was a couple or not, but they were the ringleaders of that. They traveled to another part of California. I forgot what it was. Was it Bakersfield?
Yeah, that's Northern California.
Yeah, I think they traveled a distance and they went to the store. And I remember seeing on Twitter, they kept trying to say, oh, it was black people. Like, no, y'all only saying that because y'all saw them have all black on. That doesn't mean it was black people. Like, I mean, I don't
exactly.
People dumb out here.
Yep, exactly. Like I said, they already declared war on us. They've already said the Mexican mafia has, and they shot callers have also declared war on us. It's on site with any black people. In other words, take us out anytime they see us, anytime they get around us. Like I said, it's Mexican neighborhoods out here that blacks ain't allowed, but they sure are in our neighborhoods. They're plentiful all through our neighborhoods. They not getting attacked in our neighborhoods, but if we move over there where they're at, we get attacked. And they don't care if you civilian. It doesn't matter who you are. As long as they see that black skin, it's like I said, they do that constantly to us. So that's why I'm like wondering, like, if you know how you guys are, why would you think we coming? Whatever Tom Homan do to y'all, shoot, I'm all for it. Deport the hell out of them. You know what I'm saying? Because LA don't look like LA no more. LA look like Tijuana. And I'm going to land it right there, Torian. Peace. B1.
Shout out to Scoop for coming up. Next up, we got Mansa Musa. What's going on? I see you got your stuff together.
Hey, bro, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. Well, first things first. Shout out to Scoop. Scoop, if what you saying is true about the Mexican mafia, well, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I don't do no gang banging, but I'll gang bang. What's happening? I'm with all the smoke. What's happening? Don't talk all that craziness. You gonna get the gang banging today. You banging, I'm banging too. West side rolling, nigga. What's happening? And other than that, what? Um, just a classic case of goofiness, meatballers, meatball season 2025. You know how I go. Uh, just PC doing PC, killing their family, killing their entire families, killing their sister, their dog, their brother, their grandmother, grandfather, taking out their people. Then look at us and say per capita, per capita. That's the Negro's kryptonite, per capita. I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear none of that. I don't care about none of that. This shit is for the birds. Okay, y'all need to keep Baltimore out your mouth, and any other city y'all keep talking about. Definitely keep Baltimore out your mouth. I'm from Baltimore. Half the niggas that be doing them crimes, they not from here. I'm trying to tell you right now. Those niggas who be chilling, we be chilling down here. The niggas who be doing them crimes, they most likely foreigners, and it's not all foreigners, but the ones who do that shit, we catch the strays for that. Just want to make that clear. Okay, foreigners being whoever. Black, whoever, Hispanic, whoever, foreigners, period. Because it ain't nobody that's black that's from here specifically. So it's like, let's put that out there right now. I ain't with the goofiness. They keep saying per capita, like that means something. Just to come out and say they don't even update their shit in the past 20 years. What the fuck? You don't update your own crime statistics? So you niggas run around saying per capita and you giving out false information. So like, at this point,
yeah, they
what the hell
always
y'all
go
talking
after.
about?
They always go after what they consider the urban metropolitan area, and like the person, like when I
Right.
was reading that comment, that person was apparently so irate with what I said that they had to mention Nashville twice. They said Chicago,
Twice?
Detroit.
Twice, right.
They said Chicago, Detroit, Nashville, Baltimore, Memphis, Nashville. I'm like, you mentioned you
Nigga,
mentioned Nashville
Nashville
twice.
twice? Damn, they really out there like that. I guess they really out there like that, huh? Per capita. Nashville hit that shit twice. They doing it like that. All right, okay. That's cool and all, but you gotta understand, these people are never where you need them to be when it's time for accountability to show
Yeah.
up. They're never
Oh,
where it need to
definitely.
be. Except when it's black fatigue, we tired of y'all. No, that was really us being tired of you. That's what that is. But y'all want to flip it like y'all do woke, like y'all do everything else, DEI. Y'all flip everything. And that's cool. Y'all can flip that. I'm gonna flip this finger and I'm gonna say peace out. Be1.
You won. Shout out to Mansa Musa for coming up. And the last person we have coming to the stage. Oh, we got a celebrity guest, y'all. We got a celebrity guest. And we actually brought him up y'all brought him up in the chat. Tim Tebow has come to the stage, y'all. What's going on, Timmy?
Everybody bow your heads and let me anoint you with my left hand. Hello, world. Is this where black people hang out? Per capita has messed their brains up.
Fried it. Cooked it. Fried it.
I almost should ask you to go get the old commercial when they said this is your brain on drugs with the fried egg.
I remember that commercial. They need to bring that back.
They need to bring Dare back.
Right. This is your brain on drugs.
Dummies against real education. If we really sat down, I'm going to do this. When we really break down these per capita numbers, they're going to be sick.
Mm-hmm.
And that article, I hope, just proved to them every time they use 2019, we can come back to them now and say, you know, those numbers are cooked. And they've already admitted.
And notice too that when you go on the FBI crime stats page, it has not shown anything past 2019.
Actually, no, it did. But here's the thing: the precincts, they're never equal.
Okay.
So they're getting choice stats.
Okay, makes
They're
sense.
getting like 80% of the numbers, 85%.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't even know the real numbers. And what I just sent you, the numbers they're not even right. They had to go back to 2001 and found out that the numbers aren't right. So it could be even worse because the smaller precincts, like the white ones, they've already been called out that they don't submit, but they want to worry about the NYPD and LAPD.
Terrible.
No, it's America.
Yeah, well, I mean, same difference. I got a question for you. Will you be in DC this weekend?
DC for what?
You don't know what's going on Saturday?
I know exactly what's going on Saturday. I got a text message about that. They doing a rally down here in Atlanta. I'm like, that's great. I'll be at work earning money. Y'all can go salute that man and let him get his Kim Jong-un on. I'm good.
I should have asked Mansa Musa since he's in Baltimore. Hey, Mansa, you in the chat? Will you be taking that hour-long drive down to DC this weekend?
Y'all better hope that man don't get a tank shell near his ear.
Man, looking at them bring those tanks in is like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I never thought I would see that in my lifetime, as far as being in close proximity to it.
Now, here's the thing. Since you brought that up, what if they pull a coup on Saturday?
A what?
What if they pull a coup?
Well, I mean,
stranger things have happened.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Sir, we know this is your birthday, but yeah, take this nylon real fast.
All I know is this. Nobody better be driving down there because DC already has nothing but one ways anyway. So I know them detours gonna be crazy. And then on top of that, you bringing them tanks in, them roads about to be all messed up, and the taxpayers gonna have to pay to get them repaired.
Nobody gonna get mambo sauce on Saturday. I feel for y'all down there.
Oh, there's other places you can get it. That's not down there.
All right. I know y'all like y'all chicken wings around there. Lord. But this whole thing with these Caucasians real fast.
Nice terminology, by the way.
Boy, it's gonna be. Do you understand the next? Where we in June? The next 17 months are gonna be hilarious.
You're talking about all the way to November, right?
November 3rd, boy.
But then you say something's happening in next month?
Yeah, the economy gonna crash. Well, not like crash, but it's gonna tank. And now we might get a terrorist attack. I'm gonna talk about that tomorrow.
Okay.
But yeah, we in for a rough summer, rough second half of the summer. And this man got the nerve to be having tanks and using the military industrial complex to celebrate his birthday.
And like I told someone the other day, I live near Andrews. So, Andrews is like that main base that the president goes to. So, well, I don't live it's not like I live next door to it, but all that personnel I know Andrews is crowded right now.
Oh yeah.
It has been for like the last month.
I wonder how much tariff he paid to bring them tanks in. We finna pay tariffs for them tanks. Jesus, we in trouble, bro. They actually out there celebrating, talking about U.S. and China made a trade deal. I go look it up. All they did was set up a framework to do a deal. Boy, I can't stand these people.
Listen, don't let Maggie get a hold of it. They'll twist it into whatever,
Oh, they already did. And I'm laughing at him because I read the article. I'm like, this is not a deal. This is the same thing he pulled last time. This is just like they just shook hands so they could go shake hands later. That's all they did. And the stock market dropped today because of that.
Wow.
Have you got your supplies? I'm going to always ask you.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody in the chat,
as a matter of fact, I actually got an email today. They said I got to renew my HQL.
Ooh, yeah, go do that.
Mm-hmm. They said they said it expires in September, but I'm definitely not gonna wait till the last minute.
Nah, you gotta do it now. But anybody in the chat that hasn't gotten their supplies, you got about 2 weeks. Because I'm telling you right now, when that CPI report for June drop and inflation rises, we gonna be in trouble. I think they're gonna raise interest rates again next month. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just in time for the 4th. Are you ready to spend another 56 cents for the cookout?
Hey, we look at it this way. Hey, at least with our holiday with Juneteenth, we're gonna be good. We're gonna be good. They're gonna be going crazy with the 4th.
Oh yeah, Jesse Lee, he gonna be upset. White History Month is gonna be a little more expensive this year.
Oh man.
Oh, by the way, would you like some good news before I leave?
What's that?
Now I saw a post today. Some black guy who's next to Trump said that Byron Donalds is projected to be the governor of Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I go look at Ballotpedia and I was like, let me see who he's running against. Now he run against some former Republican. I was like, all right, cool. But guess the 2 names that might jump in the race.
Is DeSantis' wife one of them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I kind of figured that because they kept name dropping her a lot.
Right.
Who's the? Okay, is the other one? Is it somebody I know?
Mm-hmm.
Rubio?
Nah, he's not leaving that post till 28.
This is another person in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we know DeSantis can't run again, but can you give me a hint?
He looked like a supervillain.
Well, that's not saying much because most of them look like supervillains.
He tried to get one of them DEI jobs and he had to bow out.
Is he Cuban?
Mm-mm.
He white?
He a Caucasian. Yeah, he a Caucasian.
Oh, why did they say Matt Gaetz?
Yes, sir.
Oh God. Listen, Matt Gaetz do look like Jack Nicholson in Batman. He do.
Right.
He really do.
Now, that's gonna be an interesting primary if both of them jump in. Because you got a Trump loyalist, you got DeSantis' wife, and you got another Trump loyalist. That's gonna be fun. Yeah, imagine a woman defeating two Trump loyalists. That's gonna be hilarious.
Listen, Byron Donalds is done. This is about to be his second knockoff because he couldn't get that VP spot. I'm still stuck on him trying to do that pimp walk last year on that RNC stage, and you had to sit down between the guy that you wanted to give you a job and the person on the other side of him is the person who got the job.
Mm-hmm.
Did all that,
and the head pad. Don't forget about the head pad.
Oh yeah, the head pad. Oh yeah, I remember that.
They finna bring that up. You'd be like, do you want this? Do you want someone in Florida that's hardworking? And do you want someone that just looks for pats on the head? Boy, they gonna call it racist.
Yeah, MAGA is done out here, and I can't wait.
Florida is gonna turn on MAGA something awful.
It's a pixie dust. Ironically, I said pixie dust in Florida. In Florida's Disney World. Disney World has Tinkerbell. Oh, pixie dust.
Oh yes, pixie dust. But yeah, man. But yeah, good broadcast. I liked it.
Appreciate it.
The way I saw that in real time, and they was tripping over themselves to get at you.
Yes, they were. And I said I got another post. I said I should have framed it the way the first time. I just say this time why, like I'm gonna say white people because I'm gonna just start it off with that. I'm not even gonna say PC. I'm gonna say white people. How can we talk about per capita? It's only targeted at black people. Y'all don't say this about any other group. I want to see them trip themselves up again. Because they're going to do it. That's really going to tell it all right there.
And also think about it like this, because I put that picture up with Tebow. Notice that he came out and he doing good work trying to save them kids. Not now one of them asked him for an interview.
Because he said what he said.
Only one white man interviewed him. But y'all supposed to be talking about y'all care about them kids. Yeah. All right. But that's all I gotta say.
Appreciate you coming up.
Yes, sir.
All right, shout out to KG for coming up and rounding out the panel. And before we get out of here, shout out to Samuel Bryan for the 5. He said, rest in peace, Ananda Lewis. She was an influence on modern day content creators. Agree or disagree? First off, let me just say I did find out about the passing of Ananda Lewis, and I was like, that legit shocked me. Ananda Lewis was a huge part of my childhood in the late 90s and early 2000s, and she definitely was one of those people that you saw consistently, especially on MTV and BET. And I would say, yes, she definitely has an influence on modern day content creators because she was out there doing the damn thing before social media was a thing. Like if Ananda Lewis was doing her thing now in the same vein that she was back then, like if you planted her from back then now, she would be one of the biggest influencers in the world for sure with social media. She did all she did without social media. And I found out she passed away. I think she was 53 from stage 4 breast cancer. And I didn't even know, that she was sick. But they said her sister said that she's been suffering with it for quite some time now. And I don't know why, but for some reason, a little while ago, Ananda Lewis just kind of popped up in my brain for some reason. And I don't know why, but now I know why, we hadn't heard from her because she had breast cancer. But for those who grew up in the 90s and early 2000s, definitely remember who she was. I mean, she used to stay having all of the best guests come onto her platform. And she was always such a nice and sweet person, very attractive. She was always a vibe. I'll look her. I'll pull her picture up right now, Scoop, because you had to have seen her at least one time in your life. Let me pull up a picture of her so you can see for yourself. Like very, very attractive woman. Let me see. Here she is right here. That's her. Yep, Teen Summit. Listen, Teen Summit was one of the best programs BET ever had in their roster. Yep, this is her right here. Now this is an older picture of her. This is Ananda Lewis back in the day, like back when she was like out there. He's okay. So she was 52. Yep, she was 52. But yeah, definitely RIP to her. Condolences to her. KG said condolences to her kids and all of that. Good stuff. Tedra said she announced that she had breast cancer several years ago. Yeah, see, like we just like for some reason, after a while, I just stopped hearing about her. It's like when they started to make that pivot, I didn't really hear about her much anymore. And I'm thinking maybe, okay, she just had her time and she just wanted to go live a regular life. But it could have possibly been because of the breast cancer. Yeah, Scoop said I recognize. Yeah, that's why I had to pull up a picture of her because I knew if you didn't know her name, you definitely knew her face. Yeah, songwriter. Yeah, that's her. From MTV, BET. Ananda was everywhere. So definitely RIP and condolences to her family. But anyway, y'all, that is going to bring this live to a close. The next time I go live will be on Friday. That'll be the next time I go live. But of course, there will be 2 videos coming tomorrow. Of course, the next poll will be going up tomorrow as well. So be on the lookout for that. Again, shout out to everybody who contributes to those Black Music Month polls. I really appreciate it because that's going to make this live that I'm going to do at the end of the month that much more fun and entertaining. And I'm going to make sure to include y'all in it in some form of capacity. But shout out to KG, Miss Nisi, and Samuel Bryan for either being a member or contributing to the channel. I greatly appreciate that. We are about to get up out of here. I know there's a few other lives going on. I think Afro is live. I think Black Alpha is live as well. So check out either one of their lives or whatever it is that you plan on doing with the rest of your evening. And with that being said, y'all take care of yourselves. Be safe. Stay pleasant. And most importantly, be one.